Good morning and welcome back to Sunday Storytime here on Gaming with ADHD, where we are continuing our read through of Star Wars Scoundrel's Luck, a solitaire adventure set in the West End Games Star Wars universe. Now, this is part 6 of the video. If you are new here, I will have a link down in the description that will take you back to part 1 so you can see all of the parts that we've already gone through. Now, this is a choose your own adventure style book that was released back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so, I just thought it would be fun to go through because I found it and I thought it was interesting. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That way you get notifications when new videos come up. And also what we're doing is you, the viewers, get to pick what the next video is going to be about. So when I reach the end of the video, it will come to a decision point where a decision has to be made. And so I will leave it up to the choices of the viewer as far as which video will get recorded next. So last week we ended with Han Solo coming to the end of a conveyor belt and hearing some sort of a rock crusher below. And he had choices to jump when the rocks remained quiet, when the rocks struck each other, or when the rocks were being ground against each other. So, according to the votes in the comments, we are going to jump down when Han Solo when the rocks strike together, and so that's when Han Solo is going to jump. All right, let's see where we are at. All right, the rocks clack and Han jumps. He lands uncertainly and steadies himself against a boulder. The boulder shifts and grinds against another stone, trapping him between them. Han's breath flees his body, and a sharp pain lances his torso. He has landed during the grind phase. His body aches as though a Shadorian slime crab has snagged him in its pinchers. He does not doubt that he has a broken rib, or 2, or 3. Han sinks to his knees and remains motionless for several moments. The time seems more like hours in the impenetrable darkness. As each second passes, the rumbling belt carries him further into the gloom, and the ache in his side grows worse. Again and again, man-sized boulders crack against each other, then roughly nudge him, sometimes smashing a finger or pinching an arm. He almost wishes the landing had battered him unconscious. Only the thought of what lies at the end of the belt rouses Han. He guesses the belt's final destination to be an immense furnace or a huge rock grinder. Either way, it will do him no good. The pilot stands uncertainly. A hot breeze strikes his face. As the belt whisks him deeper into the formless dark, he grows vaguely aware of unseen protrusions whistling past his head. The temperature has grown uncomfortably warm. A faint light silhouettes a huge boulder 10 meters ahead. Even as he watches, the light fades. "Don't shut down!" Han hollers, but even a droid would never hear his voice above the belt's terrific rumble. He cautiously inches forward. Pain shoots through his torso each time he steadies himself against an unseen boulder. Though his legs buckle with every step, Han eventually works his way past a dozen boulders and stands above the tiny droid. He uses the droid's illumination appendage to inspect it. Wedged between 2 boulders, the droid is terribly and irreparably battered. 6 crooked and twisted appendages extend full length from its body. Each lies trapped beneath a boulder or bent back toward the body where no joint exists. The droid looks like a crushed and long-dead Sivorian wood spider. Its body, trapped as it is between 2 immense rocks, has suffered 100 pinches and punctures. Han leans closer to inspect it. The droid has a monogram etched into its body. "For the esteemed CL, may we do business soon, BR." A croak escapes the droid's sonic propagation apparatus. It is barely audible above the rumble of the belt and clatter of the boulders. "It's curtains! It's curtains! It's curtains!" "Thanks," Han mumbles. A steady roar starts growling louder than the belt's rumble. When Han peers over a boulder toward the sound, he cries out in surprise. The belt ends 50 meters ahead and empties into a deep pit. The pit does not alarm Han as much as does the reason he sees it. Great white and yellow flames flicker high above its edge. Ignoring the protests in his torso, Han scrambles to the top of a boulder and leaps away from the belt. He lands in the dark corridor and rolls over his injured thighs. Screams. His screams echo louder than the belt's roar. The belt dumps the droid into the pit, and the flames briefly flash blue. "That'll purge your circuits," Han mutters. Chewbacca roars somewhere in the distance, and Han calls to the Wookiee as loudly as he can. 4 painful hours later, they limp into the light of Ord Mantell's blue sun. The tunnel opens into an immense robotic coal yard. "Fossil fuels," Han comments. "No wonder Ord Mantell is such a desert." Chewbacca agrees, brushing a thick coat of black dust from his fur. "Yeah," Han says. "Let's get back to the Falcon." Han and Chewie approach the spaceport cautiously, heading for Launch Station 2349, where they have berthed the Falcon. It is one of a long series of concrete-lined craters used as docks for small starships visiting Ord Mantell. The area shows no outward signs of anything unusual nearby, but Han long ago learned not to trust appearances. He studies the immediate vicinity thoroughly before entering his berth. The station to his freighter's port side holds a small pleasure yacht. Through the yacht's vista viewport, the smuggler sees an overdressed Altorian lizard watching 2 Twi'lek females perform an erotic dance. The Twi'lek females wrap their prehensile skull tentacles around each other suggestively. "You'd think he'd darken the porthole," Han murmurs. To the Falcon's starboard side, a Lantillian freighter, almost as beat up as Han's vessel, rests. Its portholes remain darkened, and the freighter shows no sign of current occupancy. It has been that way since they berthed their ship. "Okay, Chewbacca, let's go," Han orders. The ship's entrance rests ajar. Han knows from his own experience that someone pressed the close key, but did not take the time to make sure the ramp retracted fully. Leia is aware of the idiosyncrasy. Someone has entered the Millennium Falcon without permission. He feels vulnerable and threatened. Feeling vulnerable and threatened makes him angry. He lowers the ramp and they board, ready for trouble. Although the Falcon shows signs of a brief struggle, the only obvious missing element is Leia. A thorough search reveals that someone has taken a small bag of her gear. Han looks around the lounge area, not really seeing the familiar objects in front of him. "I might know someone who knows our Challenger," he muses, "but seeing her will take a few hours. Do they have the time to waste?" He considers, weighing the events of the day. So, here's where we reach our decision point. Do Han and Chewbacca leave for Mos Eisley immediately? Or do they contact Han's acquaintance? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. And come back next week for the next chapter of Scoundrel's Luck, a Star Wars adventure. So, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.